Hi, my name is Jimmy Battles. I worked at VTCU for 3+ years. Um, I probably had better attendance than anyone working there the entire time. I worked 120-hour work weeks. And 3 months after starting there, because I started as a temp and I had to do 500 hours to get hired on. But halfway starting through a temp, I started getting harassed repeatedly over and over and over again every single day religiously um, by everyone in the factory. They would I know it seems stupid to some people, but every time they would pass by me they would whistle, and I don't know if it's because I have no teeth or if it's because of my mental condition, because I have schizophrenia. But almost every single person I passed in that factory at VTCU would do that to me. And it wasn't just like once or twice a day. This was every time I walked past someone. And this includes supervisors, superintendents, people who are in positions that, they know better and should not be doing that at all. You know, it's just childish and it's pathetic that you have people working there that are that high up on the chain and that are doing that to other employees. It's absolutely pathetic, bro. And then every time during those 3 years that I would go and report the harassment, I would be the one that somehow got in trouble. I don't know how that works, but okay. I would report it, and then somehow I would be the one getting suspended. Um, but during the last little bit that I was there, the last time um, I reported it, told them exactly where they were on the camera, what they were wearing to the detail, to the color of their hats and their jackets. And when I got called into the office 2 days later, um, they sat me down, talked to me, and they were questioning me about what they were wearing and everything, even though I had already written down a statement of everything that had happened, what they were wearing, what time it was when they passed the cameras, and everything. And they said, well, we have no proof, blah, 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 even though they were right in front of the cameras, but okay. And then Monica Contreras, who is an HR lady there, she told me that during that same meeting that was supposed to be helping me with harassment, she told me that I was losing $1.50 of my pay because of an audit. So that's the majority of that meeting that we spent talk about was them deducting my pay instead of the harassment that I reported the following 2 days. And then so they deducted my pay $1.50 for an audit, they said. And then when I went to work the next day, Brian, the superintendent in materials, came up to me and he said, no, the reason you're losing $1.50 is not because of an audit, it's because you're not on 12-hour night shifts. Even though I was on the 8-hour longest night shift there was. There was no other shift later that was later than mine. And for those of you that have not been there for as long as I was, when they came out with those pay differentials, they had not created 12-hour shifts yet. They were specifically made for 3 separate 8-hour shifts, morning, mid, and nighttime. That's why they came out with those pay differentials in the first place. And then the 12-hour shifts came later. But specifically, they made those pay differentials for 8-hour shifts. Those of you that have not been there forever, let me educate you real quick. And then he made me switch to 12-hour shifts on nighttime. So then it made it look like I never lost my differential at all. But and then I said, enough is enough, screw that. I went to the Idaho Department of Human Rights Commission and I filed my complaint with them. And they wrote a violation back saying they were in violation, VTCU. And but at that time, I did not know how deep the harassment went from VTCU, that they had turned my phone into an Android Enterprise business phone, right, with the help of my ex-girlfriend, Brienne. Because that's the only way they would have been able to do it, because it was underneath her account. And so, my phone is a business phone. It has the Business Play Store app on it. So I did not know when I sent all my documents through DocuSign back to the Idaho Human Rights Commission that they would be able to intercept those documents, the Idaho Human Rights, BTCU, through DocuSign. So they were able to get my signatures for my medical releases and everything else that I signed as well. Because everything that I do on my phone, everything I send on my phone also goes to them as well. Everything that comes to me on my phone also goes to them as well. Because I have an IT admin on my phone. Okay? And so once it started getting really bad, and I told Carmen Barney, the Idaho Human Rights Commissioner, the lead investigator who was investigating my claim, I told her about my worries with VTCU, that what they had done to my phone and everything, and that I don't think I would be able to send it the original way through email. I don't even think your emails would be able to get to me if you send them when it's my turn to send in my evidence. And she still continued to do it through email and send me an email for me to get my evidence over to her. And I never got that email to send my evidence over from my part of the harassment that I went through for 3+ years, because like I said, they decide what emails get to me. They decide what stuff get to me on my phone. So, little after that, around November 4th, my bank account started getting hacked into. Okay, so I went and made a report in person to Roger Shee, Chief of Police, and Officer Jay Linderman. And I laid out all my evidence, all the evidence they would ever need on the table in the lobby of the police station. And literally all they did, Officer Linderman, he wrote his name on the back of his card and told me to bring it to my bank the next morning. When all I was there doing was asking if I could use their phone to call my bank to stop fraud from happening. And they denied me to call my bank from their phone, or even them call my bank themselves. I don't know about you guys, but I know they don't have to, but it's kind of a common courtesy thing right there, you know? So that shows everyone the character of these people that they are. And then a couple months later, I went back into the police station to follow up on my report, and I met with a Detective Stapleton. Okay? Detective Stapleton, remember that name, it's very important. Now, little did I know before I met with Detective Stapleton that he had actually been investigating me for 2.5 years on a charge that I'm currently being charged with right now. And so I'm a little confused on how someone that has been investigating me for 2.5 years comes out and helps me with fraud that I'm trying to report. So we sat in his office for 20 minutes, and I heard him say, yeah, I barely even know how to turn my phone on. So what the fuck are you doing coming to help me with fraud and cybercrime, you know? And then they took my S25 Ultra that I brought in there that had a device policy from 2022 stuck on it. You know, I just bought it, pre-ordered the phone and everything, right? So I'm pretty sure the S25 Ultras didn't have a 2022 policy on it, right? Sure everyone can agree on that. And so they took my phone and went and scanned it for malware through their malware machine, they said. But at that same time, my Pixel 9 Pro XL, it had no service through it. It had no Wi-Fi through it. It had no service whatsoever at that time, in those 20 minutes that I was sitting there talking to him. And when I walked back out and then walked to my doctor's office, I opened my digital well-being app on my Pixel device, and I noticed that my phone's Chrome app had used 320 gigabytes of data in the whole 20 minutes I was there talking to Detective Stapleton. So he performed an illegal search and seizure on my phone while pretending to sit there and help me. And then later I found out just yesterday that he was the one that was the main detective in charging me with a crime over 2.5 years ago. So I don't know about you guys, but that kind of seems illegal to me, and I'm pretty sure you can't do that. You can't investigate someone for 2 years and then charge them with a crime, and then when they come out to report fraud. And remember, at this time, I did not know I was being charged with anything yet. So all my fraud reports were before I knew I was being charged. Before I talked to Detective Stapleton was before I knew I was being charged with anything. I got charged in May. These reports were back in March, I believe, that I talked to Detective Stapleton. And so he he acted like he was gonna help me, blah blah blah, held my case open, and performed an illegal search and seizure on my phone. Which the only way that he would be able to do that is if he had accessed my phone before I had even got my phone when I bought it. Because you can't just, pinpoint some random phone that has absolutely no data connection to it going whatsoever and start pulling data from it. No, you had to have planted something in the phone first before I bought it in the first place. And so then I got charged with a crime, and then I found out later. Oh, and then I went to jail, okay, and they confirmed 2 warrants in front of me. 2 warrants, 2 charges, right here in front of me, and on my home camera footage downstairs as well. They confirmed them. And they brought me out to the jail, and they held me on those 2 warrants and 2 charges until the next day at my arraignment. And I went up to my arraignment, and those of you that have been to jail, you know that on your video arraignment, you say guilty or not guilty, right? It's a requirement, because that decides how your case goes further. So, because they did not have me say guilty or not guilty during my arraignment, matter of fact, I didn't say a word at all, if we're being honest with each other. I don't think I spoke one word the whole time I was sitting up in my video arraignment. Because I did not do that, I did not have any holds. I was not on probation. So if I wanted to say guilty right then and there, they took that right away from me. Because I could have said guilty, got sentenced, been done with it, right? But they took that right away from me at my arraignment. They did not let me do it. And the video arraignment will prove that because it is recorded. So, and then I went to my arraignment, and all of a sudden, one of those charges just disappeared. No longer there. And those warrants were signed that same day I was arrested, because I know as soon as it hit their desk, they were over here 5 minutes later. So those warrants were signed that same day. And now all of a sudden, no one can find any evidence of there ever being another warrant or charge whatsoever. But I called the sheriff's dispatch yesterday, and 2 people I talked to told me there was 2 warrants, yes. So I'm a little confused on how a judge signs a warrant the same day, and then it just disappears. I don't understand that at all. Things like that don't happen. Judges don't sign warrants and they just disappear. That's not how it works. And now I'm on my 6th court process. I'm on going to my 2nd mental health evaluation. The first one I already passed with flying colors. And then my lawyer, who has been breaking lawyer-client confidentiality the entire time, she, and I have her on recording in the hallway of the courthouse doing it, because she said, well, aren't you taking your meds? You're not taking your meds, right? And I'm like, I'm pretty sure I never talked to you about my meds one time. Okay, so why are you talking about me to anyone else but me? Right? So my lawyer 2 months ago ordered a competency evaluation to be done. Okay, I went to the competency evaluation. Doctor was very professional. He recorded, like you're supposed to. And passed it with flying colors, completely competent. And then we go into the courtroom, and she asked the judge for another competency hearing, but with a stipulation this time. She would like her personal friend that she knows to do the competency evaluation instead. Yeah. And then, so I went to that competency evaluation, and she didn't have no recorder. She didn't have no nothing. So, thank God I covered her tracks for her, right? With my digital recorder. Think I'm stupid? You think I'm not gonna protect myself, or what? Can you shady ass motherfuckers? You guys are dumb, bro. But anyway, since she didn't record it, I recorded it. And, just so they can't say anything happened that didn't happen. Because I am the most paranoid schizophrenic person in this town, so you're pretty stupid if you think I didn't record that. And, so yeah, I'm guessing that there's so much shady stuff going on right now, and I don't feel like my lawyer has my best interest in sight. And so after my last court hearing, I called them and I asked for a conflict attorney or just a different attorney whatsoever. And I had not heard back from her the entire time. And today is my court hearing, yet again. I've never met a lawyer that does not call you back about your case. And you want to know why? That's because VTCU is trying their hardest to get me sent away so they can cover up their tracks on what they did to me and make the evidence that I have go away on them. I have evidence that will probably bankrupt their company. They know it. I know it. The police department knows it. Everyone knows it. So, yeah. Now you all know the truth. And if you would like the evidence as well that goes along with the truth, message me back. My phone number is 208-479-4991. Send me a text message and I'll send you all the proof you want, whatever you ask for. My home camera footage of when the officers were arresting me, I'll gladly send it to you. My competency evaluation, whatever you need. And yesterday I also talked to a Sergeant Owens, and I made an internal affairs report with him, and he said he was going to turn it in on Detective Stapleton. So there's that. Hopefully that gets done, because you can't do that, bro. I don't care. You're not above the law. You can't cut corners. You can't illegally search and seizure people's phones. You can't cut you took an oath to protect people's rights that you are currently breaking. You can't do that. And not a single police station across the world is going to have your backs when they find out what you guys have done. You're going to have no support whatsoever. This is Jimmy, heading to my court hearing right now. Yeah, we'll see what happens.